Welcome to Detective Tales, where mystery and suspense come alive. Tonight, we join the legendary detective Hercule Poirot aboard the luxurious train, the Northern Star. What begins as a journey of comfort and elegance soon descends into intrigue, secrets hidden in shadows, and a daring crime that threatens to shatter the calm. Can Poirot's little grey cells unravel the truth and unmask the culprit before it's too late? Let us step aboard and discover the mystery together. The Northern Star, a Hercule Poirot mystery. Chapter 1. Embarkation at King's Cross. The autumn of 1935 had draped London in a crisp golden veil, the October chill weaving through the bustling crowds at King's Cross Station. Amid the cacophony of clattering trunks, the sharp cries of porters, and the persistent hiss of steam, the Northern Star stood as a beacon of opulence on Platform 9, its sleek, midnight blue carriages adorned with swirling gold leaf in the Art Deco fashion, shimmering beneath the station's vast arched glass roof, and catching the last frail rays of a sun descending toward the horizon. This was no mere train. It was a rolling palace, a luxurious sleeper bound for the distant wilds of Inverness, promising its elite passengers a 2-day odyssey through the misty English countryside and into the rugged splendour of the Scottish Highlands. The platform buzzed with palpable energy, the air heavy with the acrid tang of coal, smoke laced with the delicate scent of lavender drifting from nearby flower stalls. Travellers in finely tailored suits and shimmering silk dresses darted to and fro, their faces alight with excitement, or perhaps bearing the shadowed strain of those fleeing something left behind. Among this throng stood Hercule Poirot, the diminutive Belgian detective whose name had become synonymous with the unravelling of life's most perplexing enigmas. Barely exceeding 5 feet 4 inches, Poirot nevertheless exuded a quiet, unassailable dignity. 0, 5. His egg-shaped head tilted slightly, his military moustache waxed to a faultless point, his suit a masterpiece of precision that would not tolerate a single mote of dust. He had chosen the Northern Star for what he intended as a rare interlude of peace, a respite from the relentless call of his profession. Whether it was the train's reputation for unmatched luxury, or a discreet summons from a fellow passenger that drew him, he could not, or would not, say. Yet, even as he sought tranquillity, his keen green eyes swept the scene with methodical precision, cataloguing every fleeting glance, every subtle gesture. His little grey cells thrummed with quiet alertness, attuned to the undercurrents of human behaviour swirling around him. "Monsieur Poirot, a pleasure to welcome you aboard," intoned Mr. Jenkins, the conductor, his voice smooth as polished brass, and his crisp uniform a mirror of the train's exacting standards. He accepted Poirot's ticket with a deferential nod, a steady-gazed man who observed much and revealed little. "Merci, Monsieur Jenkins," Poirot replied, measured yet cordial. "I anticipate a journey of great comfort, and perhaps a touch of intrigue." His lips twitched into a faint, enigmatic smile, leaving it unclear whether he spoke in jest or with the prescience of experience. Stepping aboard, Poirot was enveloped by the scent of lavender and polished wood. The corridor's thick crimson carpet silenced his footsteps. 0, 5, warm light from brass sconces danced across rich mahogany panelling. His compartment proved a sanctuary of refinement. Velvet curtains in deep burgundy framing a bed of pristine linen, and a compact writing desk poised for notes or perhaps for the first threads of a solution yet to be woven. And yet his attention, ever restless, returned to the passengers assembling on the platform, each a potential figure in a tableau yet to be painted. First among them was Lady Abernathy, a dowager whose commanding presence matched her ostentation. She advanced with the sweep of a monarch, her voluminous fur coat trailing behind her, her voice slicing through the din like a blade. "Careful with that trunk, boy!" she barked at a porter buckling under its weight. "It contains my finest silks, and I will not have them crushed." Around her throat sparkled a diamond necklace, an heirloom of dazzling splendor, its facets catching the gaslight in a display of wealth that bordered on provocation. At her side trudged Lord Abernathy, a man diminished by the towering force of his wife. His shoulders sagged, his eyes cast downward as though burdened by invisible chains. "Yes, my dear," he murmured, his voice a faint echo. Poirot noted the weariness etched into his features, and detected a flicker of something deeper resentment, perhaps, or despair tucked beneath his resigned exterior. A lighter step heralded Miss Clarissa Fotheringay, 05, a socialite whose laughter trilled like a silver bell through the crisp air. Her silk dress shimmered with each graceful movement, her cloche hat framing a face radiant with delight. "Oh, what a glorious adventure this shall be!" she exclaimed to the ether, her gaze lingering on Lady Abernathy's necklace with an intensity that teetered between admiration and avarice. Poirot's eyebrow arched. Such unguarded fascination could be innocent, or it could be the seed of something more sinister. Mr. Reginald Thorpe boarded next, a businessman whose stern visage suggested a life of unyielding discipline. He gripped his briefcase with a ferocity that implied secrets too weighty to relinquish, and scanned the platform with a cold, calculating sweep. His impeccable suit and gleaming shoes bespoke prosperity, yet a hardness in his demeanour hinted at a history he preferred to keep buried. Mrs. Evelyn Carrington ascended with the poise of a seasoned voyager, dark eyes glinting with wry amusement. A widow of evident means, she carried an aura of enigma. Her tailored suit suggested a penchant for exploration over lamentation. "A splendid train," she remarked to Sarah, the young attendant hovering nearby, "though I wager it harbours as many tales as it does passengers." Her tone was airy, yet the undercurrent of shrewdness did not escape Poirot. Sarah, clutching a sheath of tickets with faintly trembling hands, nodded with eager fervour. "Oh, yes, madam, it is ever so grand." Poirot regarded her with a gentle smile. Her youthful sincerity charmed him, though she seemed unsettled by the grandeur of her charges. Dr. Alistair McTavish lumbered aboard, a burly Scotsman with a scowl carved into his craggy face. "Let us hope this blasted machine keeps its time," he grumbled, thrusting his ticket at Sarah with a grunt. "I have no tolerance for dawdling." His bluntness clashed with the train's polished elegance, yet Poirot found his rugged authenticity oddly compelling. Last came Mademoiselle Lucie Dubois, a French governess of striking reticence. She glided onto the train with eyes averted, her modest attire a stark counterpoint to the surrounding extravagance. Her hands, clasped tightly before her, quivered ever so slightly, a detail Poirot's sharp vision seized upon. Was it mere anxiety, he mused, or the burden of a concealed intent? Her demure facade seemed almost too deliberate, inviting closer scrutiny. The staff moved with seamless efficiency, Mr. Jenkins overseeing the boarding with quiet command, Sarah flitting among the passengers, her earnestness tinged with unease, Tom, the ruddy-faced steward, offering a broad grin as he hefted luggage, and glimpsed through the galley door Mrs. Potts, her stern gaze reigning over the kitchen with the authority of a general formidable custodian of the train's culinary prestige. With a piercing whistle, the Northern Star jolted to life, 05. steam billowing into the frigid air as it eased from the platform. Poirot settled into his compartment, the engine's rhythmic thrum blending with the distant strains of jazz that would soon filter from the lounge car. He adjusted his tie in the mirror, his mind already sifting through the gallery of characters he had observed. The imperious lady, the subdued lord, the effervescent Miss Fotheringay, the guarded Mr. Thorpe, the enigmatic Mrs. Carrington, the brusque Dr. McTavish, the reserved Mademoiselle Dubois, and the diligent staff threading through their midst. As the train gained momentum, London's skyline dissolved into a tapestry of golden fields and emerald hills, tendrils of mist curling over the landscape like a ghostly embrace. Yet, even as Poirot willed himself to relax, a faint shiver of disquiet stirred within him. The Northern Star's splendour was undeniable, but beneath its polished veneer he sensed a simmering tension, a whisper of mystery that no luxury could quite mask. The journey had only begun, and already his instincts told him this would be no mere voyage of leisure. Chapter 2. Jazz Beneath the Chandeliers. As the Northern Star pressed onward through the gathering dusk, the English countryside beyond its windows melted into a shadowed blur. The last amber streaks of daylight yielded to encroaching night. Within the train, however, a different world thrived. A realm of opulence bathed in the golden glow of crystal chandeliers. The dining car, its tables swathed in crisp white linens and adorned with gleaming silver, hummed with the clatter of fine china and the delicate chime of glassware. From a gramophone nestled discreetly in a corner, a jazz tune unfurled its mellow strains, weaving through the air in syncopated harmony with the rhythmic pulse of the train. Hercule Poirot occupied a modest table near a window, a glass of cognac resting lightly in his hand. His discerning green eyes, veiled beneath half-closed lids, surveyed the room with quiet intensity. He had chosen his seat not for the misty vistas slipping past, but for the unobstructed view it afforded of his fellow passengers. At the heart of the dining car, Lady Abernathy presided with the authority of a queen, her diamond necklace a cascade of light glittering with every imperious gesture. "Monsieur Thorpe," she declared, her voice ringing clear above the din, "you should have seen the Duchess at the gala positively drowning in pearls. Poor thing, a dreadful excess." She laughed, sharp and commanding, waving a gloved hand with theatrical flair. Mr. Reginald Thorpe inclined his head with a thin smile, his fingers tapping a staccato rhythm on the tablecloth. "Indeed. Lady Abernathy," he replied, his tone clipped, cautious. "Excess can be unbecoming." His gaze darted briefly toward her necklace, then retreated, a flicker of something unreadable crossing his face. Miss Clarissa Fotheringay, seated beside him, leaned forward, her silk gown whispering as she propped her chin on a delicate hand. "But your necklace, Lady Abernathy, it is simply divine," she cooed, her eyes locked on the jewels with a gleam bordering on obsession. "Such radiance it puts the heavens themselves to shame." Lady Abernathy's chest swelled with pride. Her fingers grazed the diamonds with a possessive touch. "An heirloom, my dear," she said with satisfaction. "A treasure beyond price, handed down through generations." She seemed oblivious to the hunger in Miss Fotheringay's stare, though Poirot, ever watchful, noted it carefully. Across the table, Mrs. Evelyn Carrington raised an eyebrow, lips curving into a playful smirk. "And yet you wear it so casually, Lady Abernathy. I should be a nervous wreck with such a prize around my neck." Her words were light, almost teasing, but Poirot detected the probing edge beneath the charm. "Nonsense," Lady Abernathy retorted, dismissing the remark with a flick of her wrist. "What is the use of wealth if not to display it? The Northern Star is a fortress of safety, is it not, Lord Abernathy?" Her husband stirred, startled from private gloom. "Oh, yes, quite," he murmured, his voice a faint thread. He dabbed at his brow with a trembling hand, his wine-glass shaking as he lifted it. Poirot observed with care the sheen of perspiration, the nervous dart of his eyes toward the door. At the far end of the table, Dr. Alistair McTavish emitted a gruff huff. "All this blather over a trinket," he growled, his Scottish burr cutting through the chatter. "You would think it was the Holy Grail." He downed his whisky, scowl deepening. "And this infernal racket can a man not eat in peace?" Mrs. Carrington chuckled, tilting her head with a twinkle in her eye. "Oh, Doctor, you are too dour by half. A little jazz lifts the spirits, don't you think, Tom?" She glanced toward the steward. Tom beamed as he topped off her glass. "Aye, madam. A grand tune indeed keeps the night lively." His broad grin and cheerful ease stood in warm contrast to the simmering tensions swirling around the table. Near the entrance lingered Sarah, the young attendant, hands fussing with napkins, her wide eyes flitting nervously from guest to guest. Poirot caught her gaze, and offered a small smile. She blushed, turning quickly away. In a shadowed nook, Mademoiselle Lucie Dubois sat alone. Her posture was stiff, her grey dress plain and severe amidst the car's brilliance. Her plate remained untouched, hands clasped tightly in her lap, trembling faintly. Too perfect, Poirot thought. Too rehearsed. Stillness, such as hers, concealed depths. The jazz slowed to a wistful refrain. Lady Abernathy turned once more to Mr. Thorpe. "What brings you north, monsieur?" "Business, I suppose?" Thorpe's smile was brittle. "Yes, Lady Abernathy. Opportunities in the Highlands. Investments, you might say." Dr. McTavish snorted. "Investments? More like gambling with other folks' money. The North is a hard mistress." Thorpe's jaw tightened, though he offered no retort, instead turning to Miss Fotheringay with forced warmth. "And you, mademoiselle, what lures you to Inverness?" She laughed, bright and tinkling, drawing glances. "The scenery, naturally. And perhaps a rugged Scotsman to sweep me off my feet." Her gaze slid teasingly toward Lord Abernathy, who flinched and looked away. Mrs. Carrington seized the moment, leaning toward Poirot's table. "And you, Monsieur Poirot? Surely a man of your caliber is not here merely for the views." Poirot inclined his head, moustache quivering with amusement. "Even Hercule Poirot, madame, must on occasion seek repose. The Northern Star offers elegance, and I intend to enjoy it." Her eyes danced. "And yet I suspect you are never truly at rest. Tell me, does our little assembly pique your interest?" Poirot's gaze swept the car, lingering upon each face. "Every company, madame, is a puzzle of motives and masks. Some are plain to see. Others require closer study." Before she could press him further, Lady Abernathy rose with dramatic flourish. "I am exhausted," she announced, necklace blazing like a beacon. "A nightcap, then bed. Come, Lord Abernathy, I will need you to manage my jewels." As they passed Poirot, she paused, eyes narrowing. "Monsieur Poirot, is it not? I have heard tales of your cleverness." Poirot rose with a bow. "At your service, Lady Abernathy." "Well, I trust we shall have no need of your talents here. This is a civilized journey, after all." "Indeed, madame," Poirot replied smoothly. "One hopes for nothing less." The others soon departed as well, Miss Fotheringay casting a lingering glance at the empty table, Mr. Thorpe clutching his briefcase close, Mrs. Carrington offering Poirot a knowing smile. Only Mademoiselle Dubois remained, eyes fixed on the doorway. Poirot approached her table, steps deliberate. "Mademoiselle, you seem lost in thought. Does the journey trouble you?" She flinched, pale cheeks colouring. "No, monsieur. Only I am unaccustomed to such splendour. It overwhelms me." Poirot's gaze softened, though his eyes probed. "Grandeur can indeed distract. But one must keep the mind clear, non? You travel alone?" "Yes, monsieur," she replied falteringly. "To Inverness, for a governess's position." "A worthy calling," Poirot murmured, eyes narrowing imperceptibly. "I wish you success." With a bow, he withdrew, the train's gentle sway accompanying his retreat. His mind buzzed with the evening's revelations, unease, envy, guarded silences. The necklace a glittering lure that hung over them all. In her compartment, Lady Abernathy unclasped her necklace, placing it within an ornate case. "There," she sighed, turning the key with a firm click. "Safe for the night. Mine is nae fafeties." Lord Abernathy lingered uncertainly. "You may go, my dear," she added. Relief softened his features as he slipped away. The compartment dimmed, silence settling save for the hum of the train as it hurtled through darkness, a prelude to the mystery lurking in the shadows. Chapter 3. The Disappearing Abernathy Diamonds. The Northern Star came to a gentle halt at York Station, its mighty engine exhaling plumes of steam into the crisp autumn air. Passengers stirred from their slumber, some venturing onto the platform beneath the Gothic spires of York Minster to stretch their legs, while others remained cocooned in velvet-lined compartments, savouring the warmth against the morning chill. Within the opulent quarters of Lady Abernathy, dawn's light crept across brocade curtains, rousing her from slumber. She stretched languidly, memory of the previous evening's triumph sparkling in her mind, the glittering display of her treasured necklace. With a satisfied sigh, she reached for the ornate case upon her bedside table, deft fingers turning the key in its lock. But when the lid sprang open, her eyes widened in horror. The velvet cushion lay bare. The dazzling heirloom was gone. A scream tore from her throat, sharp as breaking glass, reverberating down the carriage with banshee force. Lord Abernathy, pacing the narrow corridor outside his mind, clouded with debts and whispered threats from London's gambling dens, froze at the sound. Heart pounding beneath his rumpled waistcoat, he rushed inside. "Elena! What has happened?" he cried, though dread already coiled within him. She thrust the empty case toward him, hands trembling. "It is gone, Charles. Someone has taken it." Her face was drained of colour, save the feverish blotches upon her cheeks. "But how?" he stammered. "The door, it was locked, was it not?" Sarah, the young attendant, passed by with a tray of porcelain teacups just as the scream erupted. She nearly dropped the china in fright. Hastening to the compartment, she peered inside, face pale. "My lady, are you hurt?" she asked, voice trembling like a leaf. Lady Abernathy, too distraught to answer, pointed a quivering finger at the empty case. Lord Abernathy, mustering what authority remained, turned to Sarah. "Fetch Mr. Jenkins at once. Tell him there has been a theft." Sarah nodded, setting down her tray with a clatter, and dashed down the corridor, footsteps a staccato beat against the muffled hum of the train. In the dining car, Mr. Jenkins was overseeing the meticulous arrangement of breakfast settings when Sarah burst upon him, breathless. "Mr. Jenkins, sir, the necklace, it has been stolen." His calm demeanour fractured, replaced by grave concern. "Stolen? From her compartment?" "Yes, sir," Sarah panted. "She is in a dreadful state." Jenkins straightened, his composure hardening. A scandal such as this could tarnish the Northern Star's reputation irrevocably. "This is most irregular," he murmured, setting aside his clipboard. With purposeful strides, he followed Sarah back down the carriage. Upon entering Lady Abernathy's compartment, Jenkins found chaos. The dowager paced like a caged lioness, silk robe billowing, while Lord Abernathy stood helpless, wringing his hands. "Mr. Jenkins!" she cried, voice shrill. "My diamond necklace has been taken. It was locked in this case, and now it is gone." Jenkins bent over the case, inspecting its polished surface. "Was the lock tampered with, my lady?" he asked, soothing yet firm. "No," she snapped. "It was secure. I checked it myself last night." He examined both lock and compartment door. No scratches, no splintered wood. "Curious," he murmured. The thief possessed rare skill indeed. Straightening, he spoke with care. "My lady, we shall do all in our power to recover your treasure. But for this, I propose we enlist a professional. Monsieur Hercule Poirot travels with us." Lady Abernathy's eyes widened, hope flickering. "The detective?" "Yes, fetch him at once." In his compartment, Poirot sat savouring a cup of hot chocolate, his morning ritual. The gentle stillness of York had lulled him into repose, his shoes gleaming, his suit immaculate. A knock broke the calm. "Entrees," he called, setting down his cup. Mr. Jenkins entered, grave. "Monsieur Poirot, forgive the intrusion. A serious matter has arisen. Lady Abernathy's necklace has been stolen from her locked compartment." Poirot's brows rose, eyes alight. "Stolen? From a locked compartment?" He stroked his moustache thoughtfully. "Most intriguing. And you wish for me to investigate?" "Indeed, monsieur," Jenkins replied. "Your discretion and skill would be a godsend." Poirot rose, smoothing his jacket. "Très bien. Lead the way." As they traversed the corridor, curious passengers had begun to gather. Miss Fotheringay peering with feigned concern, Mr. Thorpe watching with guarded intensity, Mrs. Carrington with a sly smile, and Dr. McTavish muttering about "fuss over a trinket." Sarah hovered nearby, wringing her hands. Entering the compartment, Poirot was met by Lady Abernathy's frantic gaze. "Monsieur Poirot, thank heavens! My necklace, it has vanished." She clutched the empty case, as if it might yet yield its secret. Poirot bowed, calm and commanding. "Madame, I am at your service. I pray, recount all you remember of last night and this morning." "I locked the necklace in this case before retiring," she began, voice quaking. "I slept soundly. When I awoke, it was gone." "And the door to your compartment?" Poirot pressed. "Locked, of course. Always." He moved to the door, inspecting frame and lock. No marks, only a faint scuff. He turned to the case upon the bed. Its lock intact, the key trembling in Lady Abernathy's grasp. "Curious," he murmured. "A thief who leaves no trace." "Madame?" Poirot asked gently. "Did you hear anything unusual in the night?" She frowned, searching her memory. "No, nothing beyond the train's hum. Perhaps a creak, but that is all." Poirot's gaze shifted to Lord Abernathy. "And you, monsieur, did you notice aught amiss?" "I was in my own compartment, attempting sleep. I wandered the corridor for an hour, but I heard nothing," the man replied, voice strained. Poirot stepped into the corridor. The onlookers lingered. Miss Dubois apart, expression unreadable, hands clasped with deliberate stillness. The murmur of speculation swelled. The train jolted, resuming its northward journey. Poirot lingered, his mind already turning. A locked compartment. A vanished jewel. A cast of characters cloaked in secrets. The game is afoot, he thought, a faint smile curling his lips. The northern star steamed onward, elegance shadowed now by enigma. Chapter 4. A tatter of lace. The northern star steamed onward through fog-draped countryside, its steady hum a backdrop to the ceaseless workings of Hercule Poirot's little grey cells. Once again he stood within the opulent confines of Lady Abernathy's compartment, sharp green eyes scanning each corner with surgical precision. This was no mere repetition of his earlier visit. It was a return to verify, to probe, to ensure that every answer given held firm under scrutiny. Lady Abernathy sat stiffly on the bed's edge, fingers clutching the ornate key to the jewel case, as though it might anchor her composure. Lord Abernathy stood by the window, gaze fixed outward upon the blur of fields, his rigid posture betraying a tension that words could not mask. Poirot closed the door behind them, the train's rhythm isolating the trio from the world beyond. "Madam," Poirot began smoothly, "I must ask you once more. Recount your actions on the night of the theft, step by step, from the moment you retired until the morning." Lady Abernathy sighed, exasperation flickering in her eyes. "Monsieur Poirot, I have already told you. I placed the necklace in its case, I locked the door, and I went to bed. There was nothing more." Poirot tilted his head, moustache twitching faintly. "And yet, madame, truth often hides in the shadows of memory. You heard nothing? No sound, however faint, that upon reflection might seem unusual?" She hesitated, brow furrowing. "Well, perhaps a rustle, like fabric brushing wood. I dismissed it as the train's motion." "Précisément," Poirot replied softly. "It is in repetition that clarity emerges." "And the door you locked it yourself?" "Yes," she snapped, patience thinning. "I am certain of it. I always do." Poirot crossed to the door, running fingers along the frame. There again was the faint scuff mark he had noted before, 0, 5, and caught within the frame a torn scrap of lace. He plucked it free with delicacy, holding it to the light. "This lace, madame, you maintain it is not yours?" Her eyes narrowed. "No, I wear only Chantilly. That is some cheap imitation." "Most interesting," Poirot murmured, slipping the fragment into his pocket with care. Turning, he fixed Lord Abernathy with a steady gaze. "Monsieur, you said to Mr. Jenkins that you stepped out during the night for air. Where precisely did you go, and what did you see?" Lord Abernathy shifted uneasily, fingers fidgeting at the frayed edge of his cuff. His suit, though finely tailored, bore subtle signs of wear details Poirot never missed. "I walked to the corridor's end and back. It was late. The corridor was empty." "Curious," Poirot murmured. "So late, and no one saw you. A man of your standing, restless in the night, perhaps weighed down by other matters?" Abernathy stiffened, alarm flashing in his eyes. "I don't follow, monsieur." Poirot's moustache twitched with the faintest smile. "We all carry burdens, n'est-ce pas? And sometimes those burdens tempt even the most honourable to acts they might regret. Finances, perhaps?" Abernathy's face flushed, fists clenching. "How dare you? I am no thief." "Charles, please," Lady Abernathy interjected sharply, though her voice wavered. "He is only trying to help." Poirot inclined his head serenely. "Just so. I seek only truth. And to find it, I must ask difficult questions even of those most offended." He let silence stretch, noting every flicker of expression. Her reluctant admission of a rustle, his defensive outburst, the scuff, the lace, the locked door threads tightening within Poirot's mind. Later, in his own compartment, Poirot sat with the torn lace resting in his palm. A whisper of the truth, he mused, eyes narrowing. But whose? The Northern Star rolled on, elegance concealing intrigue, and Poirot, relentless hunter of order, followed the faintest threads deeper into deception. Chapter 5. Poirot's Round of Questions. The Northern Star steamed through the misty English countryside, its luxurious carriages swaying gently as it bore northward toward Edinburgh. Within, Hercule Poirot sat in his compartment, the rhythmic clatter of the wheels a soothing accompaniment to the ceaseless workings of his little grey cells. A crisp newspaper lay open on his lap, its headline proclaiming, "Mysterious theft at the British Museum. Priceless artifact vanishes without a trace." Poirot's eyes lingered a moment, a flicker of intrigue crossing his face. But with deliberate care he folded the paper aside. His task lay nearer at hand. The theft of Lady Abernathy's diamond necklace, a crime both audacious and perplexing. Ever the master of order, Poirot resolved to interview each suspect in turn. He adjusted his tie, his moustache bristling with anticipation. 0, 5, and stepped into the corridor where the scent of lavender and polished wood hung heavy. Notebook in hand, he began his inquiries. First was Lord Abernathy, found in his compartment, a half-empty glass of brandy betraying restless nerves. His finely tailored suit bore frayed cuffs, subtle signs of better days gone. Poirot bowed courteously. "Monsieur Abernathy, may I trouble you once more?" The lord nodded stiffly, throat-bobbing. Poirot seated himself opposite, posture impeccable. "The necklace, monsieur, it is, I understand, a family heirloom?" "Yes," Abernathy said, jaw tight. "Passed down through her lineage, of both sentimental and considerable value." "And you, monsieur, walked the corridor near midnight?" Abernathy's fingers whitened upon the armrest. "Yes. I was restless. I paced. I encountered no one." "A curious thing," Poirot murmured. "That no one saw you either. Did you hear nothing? No rustle? No step?" I do not recall," Abernathy stammered, sweat glistening on his brow. "I was preoccupied." "Preoccupied, perhaps, with matters of weight?" Poirot's voice was gentle but probing. "Finances, for example, can press heavily upon the mind." Abernathy flushed, voice rising. "I live upon my wife's means, yes, but I am no thief." Poirot raised a hand, soothing. "Peace, monsieur. I accuse no one. I merely seek truth." He rose with a polite nod. 0, 5. Merci. You have been most helpful." Next, Poirot found Miss Clarissa Fotheringay in the observation car, silhouette framed against wide windows. "Mademoiselle Fotheringay," he greeted with a bow. "A moment, if you please." "Certainly, Monsieur Poirot," she replied with a flirtatious lilt. "What brings you to me?" "I inquire, mademoiselle, about the night of the theft. Where were you?" "Oh, here, admiring the stars," she said lightly. Poirot's eyes twinkled. "And which constellations did you admire?" Her smile faltered. "Orion, Cassiopeia, the usual." "And you were alone?" Poirot pressed. "Quite alone," she said too quickly. Her hand trembled upon her brooch. Poirot noted it silently. "You have a fondness for jewels, mademoiselle," he observed. "That necklace must have captivated you." She laughed, brittle. "Captivated? Oh, it was splendid. But I have treasures of my own." "Indeed?" Poirot murmured, excusing himself, though her evasiveness lingered in his thoughts. Mr. Thorpe was next, in his compartment, hunched over a ledger. His eyes rose coldly as Poirot entered. "Monsieur Thorpe, A few questions? Ask, Thorpe replied flatly. You retired early, I believe. Slept soundly? Yes. I heard nothing. Remarkable, Poirot mused. You sleep beside Lady Abernathy's compartment, yet no sound disturbed you? I am a heavy sleeper, Thorpe said curtly. But as Poirot pressed, his eyes flickered toward the lounge where Mrs. Carrington sat. A fleeting glance, but one Poirot filed away with interest. In the lounge, Mrs. Evelyn Carrington reclined with a book. She smiled at Poirot's approach. For you, Monsieur Poirot, always. And where were you, madame, when the necklace was stolen? Here, reading, she said smoothly. And the book? Flora of the British Isles plants and such? Fascinating. Poirot's eyes gleamed. And you were alone? Yes, quite, she answered, gaze flickering, a blush rising when he mentioned Mr. Thorpe. Quickly masked, but not unseen. Dr. McTavish received Poirot in his berth, a bottle of whisky at hand. What now, monsieur? He barked. Where were you, doctor, that night? In my berth, nursing a headache. Alone? Yes. And why should anyone confirm it? I care nothing for Lady Abernathy's baubles. Poirot inclined his head, noting the man's bitterness, and withdrew. Last was Mademoiselle Lucy Dubois, found in the staff quarters, hands sorting papers with mechanical care. She looked up, pale face composed, eyes guarded. Where were you, mademoiselle, on the night of the theft? Here, she said softly, preparing lessons for the children I am to teach in Inverness. And did you see or hear anything unusual? She faltered. A shadowy figure, tall, cloaked, moving swiftly in the corridor. Poirot leaned forward. Describe it. Two? I could not see clearly. It moved away toward the far end. And why did you not mention this before? Her hands trembled. I thought it unimportant. Perhaps. A trick of my eyes. None, mademoiselle, Poirot said gently, eyes narrowing. Even a shadow may cast a revealing light. Later, in his compartment, Poirot sat steepled in thought. Abernathy's debts, Fotheringay's jewel lust, Thorpe's guarded glances, Carrington's blush, McTavish's resentment, Dubois' trembling hands. Secrets abounded. Masks concealed truths. But the thief was among them, and Hercule Poirot was cleverer still. Chapter 6. The Star at Midnight. The Northern Star carved its path through the rolling hills toward Edinburgh, its polished carriages swaying gently in the misty afternoon light. Within his compartment, Hercule Poirot sat with notebook open, his mind gnawed by the theft of Lady Abernathy's diamond necklace. A crime executed with such finesse offended his sense of order and urged his little grey cells into ceaseless motion. He had resolved to enjoy this journey as a rare repose, yet fate, it seemed, had other designs. The plush velvet, the gleaming brass, the rhythm of wheels, all had become the stage for a mystery he could not resist. His pen tapped upon the page, each suspect's contradictions dancing across his thoughts. A faint rustle at the door broke his reverie. He glanced down. A slip of paper slid beneath the threshold, edges trembling as if reluctant to be seen. Poirot stooped, retrieving it with deliberate care. In hurried scrawl, the words declared, "The star will fall at midnight." Poirot's eyes narrowed. "The star," he whispered. Did it signify the train itself? The Northern Star? Or the necklace, its brilliance a star plucked from the night sky? And midnight, was it threat, warning, or rendezvous? He tucked the note into his waistcoat. Its ambiguity was a puzzle to ponder later. Stepping into the corridor, Poirot inhaled the familiar blend of lavender and polished wood. Brass sconces flickered, shadows dancing across mahogany panels. His sharp gaze caught a smear of crimson upon the carpet's baseboard. He knelt, gloved fingers hovering. Tacky, with a faint fruity scent. "Blood?" he murmured. His pulse quickened. Just then Sarah rounded the corner, arms full of folded linens, cheeks flushed. She halted at the sight of Poirot crouched low. "Monsieur Poirot, is something amiss?" He rose, brushing his gloves. "This mark? Mademoiselle, it has a sinister look. What is its origin?" Her shoulders eased. "Oh, that is only wine, sir. Tom spilled it last night while serving. I have been meaning to clean it." Poirot's tension eased, though his curiosity sharpened. "Wine, you say? And when?" "Late, monsieur. Around 11, she replied nervously. "Tom was in a rush with so many orders." "Most enlightening, mademoiselle," Poirot said gently. "And tell me, did you notice anything unusual while about your duties? Any passengers abroad?" She thought. "I saw Mr. Thorpe lingering in the dining car, speaking low with another gentleman, and Miss Fotheringay passed me, heading toward the observation car. It was a busy hour." Poirot inclined his head. "You are most observant, merci." Continuing his walk, Poirot found Tom in the lounge car, polishing a tray with jovial hum. His ruddy cheeks glowed. "Good day, Monsieur Poirot. A spot of tea?" "Perhaps later, mon ami. For now, information. The wine you spilled last night, tell me—" Tom chuckled sheepishly. "A clumsy moment, sir. I was juggling too many glasses. Lord Abernathy wanted a refill. I tripped near the corridor. Made a right mess." "And the hour?" Poirot pressed. "Near 11, I'd wager," Tom said. "Busy night it was. Saw Lord Abernathy pacing, looking proper out of sorts. Dr. McTavish grumbled at me, too, did not like the clatter." Poirot's moustache twitched with interest. "And no one else? No figure where they ought not be?" Tom frowned, thinking. "Can't say for sure, sir. Too many trays. But I did hear faint steps while cleaning up the spill." "Merci, mon ami," Poirot said, dismissing him with a nod. As he turned down the corridor, Poirot nearly collided with Mademoiselle Dubois. She emerged from a doorway, pale face framed by dim light, gloved hands adjusting a shawl. Poirot's eyes caught a detail, a small tear in the lace of her right glove. She startled at his presence. "Pardon, monsieur. I was merely fetching something." Poirot bowed. "No apology needed, mademoiselle. You travel with elegant hats. I observe they must be carefully packed, non?" Her eyes widened, then steadied. "Yes, monsieur. I take care of my belongings." Poirot's gaze lingered upon her glove. Its lace trim frayed, a small piece missing. "Charming gloves," he remarked lightly. "Though one has suffered misfortune." She flushed, tucking the hand beneath her shawl. It caught on something. A trivial tear. In Poirot's mind, the scrap of lace from Lady Abernathy's doorframe blazed into memory. The pattern tantalizingly similar. He kept his expression bland. "Ah, such things happen. On a train there are many hazards." "Oui, monsieur," she murmured, slipping past him. As the dinner bell chimed, Poirot saw opportunity. While passengers gathered in the dining car, the staff quarters would lie empty. With a final glance to ensure the corridor clear, he moved swiftly toward Mademoiselle Dubois' compartment. Some time later, Poirot emerged, expression thoughtful. He had found something. What? He kept to himself for now. The cryptic note, the frayed glove, the hidden discovery pieces aligning in his mind. As the Northern Star pressed onward, whistle a distant cry against gathering dusk. 0, 5. Poirot stood in the corridor, little grey cells alight. Lord Abernathy's agitation, Sarah's testimony, Tom's observations, Dubois' trembling composure. All threads in a puzzle nearing completion. And Hercule Poirot, ever the hunter of order, vowed to chase truth through the shadows until the mask was torn away. Chapter 7. The Phantom Unmasked. The northern star thrummed through the darkness of its second night, its gleaming carriages slicing a path toward the misty highlands. Within the dining car, anticipation hung heavy beneath the swaying chandelier, its crystal prisms scattering fractured light across the assembled passengers. The tables had been stripped bare, white linens folded away, as though to sharpen the gravity of the moment. At the head stood Hercule Poirot, diminutive yet commanding, his green eyes glinting with certainty, his waxed moustache bristling with the poise of revelation. He raised his voice, measured and calm, silencing the murmurs. "Mesdames et messieurs," he began, "we approach not only the end of our journey to Inverness, but also the end of mystery. The theft of Lady Abernathy's diamond necklace has cast suspicion among us. Tonight, I shall reveal the thief." Lady Abernathy sat erect, hands clasped, her throat bare where once diamonds blazed. Lord Abernathy slumped beside her, pallor stark against his dark suit, eyes darting nervously. Miss Clarissa Fotheringay leaned forward, silk gown shimmering, torn between dread and fascination. Mr. Reginald Thorpe gripped his chair's edge, stern countenance strained. Mrs. Evelyn Carrington maintained her polished calm, though her eyes fixed upon Poirot with intense curiosity. Dr. McTavish glowered, arms crossed, impatience radiating. And apart sat Mademoiselle Dubois, pale hands folded, face a mask of serenity. Near the door, Mr. Jenkins stood with Sarah and Tom, their presence a quiet thread in the tapestry of tension. Poirot lifted a small fragment delicately between his fingers. "This scrap of lace, found near Lady Abernathy's compartment door, is the key." A ripple ran through the room. Dubois' fingers tightened, ever so slightly. "Your glove, mademoiselle," Poirot said, his gaze piercing, "bears a tear that matches this fragment with precision. And within the lining of your hat box, I discovered the necklace, its diamonds winking like conspirators eager to be found." Gasps erupted. Lady Abernathy's hand flew to her throat. Lord Abernathy recoiled. Miss Fotheringay's eyes widened. Dubois rose, trembling. "Monsieur Poirot, this is slander. You have no proof." "Au contraire," Poirot countered firmly, producing the glove. "Its torn edge speaks more eloquently than words." "And there is more." From his pocket he drew a slip of knotted string. "This intricate knot I found among your belongings. A curious trifle, non? Yet identical to the signature left at the theft of a priceless artifact from the British Museum. A crime committed only days before our journey." Dubois' composure cracked, eyes widening. "That means nothing," she stammered. "It means everything," Poirot said, voice like steel. "You, mademoiselle, are no governess. You are the phantom, a thief of cunning disguise and meticulous craft. The shadowy figure you claim to see? A fiction meant only to mislead." Her shoulders sagged, defiance faltering. Poirot, relentless, pressed on. "And the cryptic note, 'The star will fall at midnight.' At first I wondered, a clue to your theft? But no, it is something else entirely." He held up the note, eyes sweeping the assembly. "It is a love letter, misdelivered to my door, penned by Monsieur Thorpe to Madame Carrington." A hush fell. Mrs. Carrington's poise wavered, a flush blooming. Thorpe's jaw hardened, fists clenching. "The star you Madame Carrington, radiant among us. Midnight your rendezvous. I observed your glances, your whispers. They betrayed you. Mrs. Carrington laughed lightly, though brittle. A charming tale, Monsieur Poirot, but hardly criminal. Indeed, Poirot agreed, smiling faintly. Your romance is no crime, but it casts shadows enough to confuse matters. He turned sharply. The theft belongs to Mademoiselle Dubois alone. Lord Abernathy exhaled with relief, though shame tugged at his features. Poirot's gaze lingered. Your debts, monsieur, they pressed heavily. A motive, oui, but courage failed you. Miss Fotheringay clutched her brooch, voice nervous. I take trifles? Perhaps, but not that necklace. Précisément, Poirot said softly. Your weakness lies in small indulgences, not here. Silence settled, heavy as velvet. At last, Mr. Jenkins stepped forward. Mademoiselle Dubois, he said, steady. Sarah and Tom moved to her side. Her head bowed, mask of governess shattered. Poirot folded his hands, his little grey cells finally at rest. The pursuit of wealth tempts even the cleverest masks, he murmured. But truth it cannot hide from Hercule Poirot. The northern star pressed on, its whistle a triumphant cry against the Highland night, as the dining car filled with the stunned silence of revelation. Chapter 8. Journey's End. The northern star drew into Inverness station with a mournful whistle, piercing through the Highland mist. Grey vapours curled across the platform like the breath of some ancient spirit, as the gleaming blue carriages shuddered to a halt. A journey that had begun in London with luxury and promise, now concluded as a tapestry woven with intrigue, exposure, and truth. Porters bustled forth, caps glistening with dew, their brisk movements scattering the fog. Passengers emerged, faces etched with a mixture of weariness and relief, bearing the imprint of nights unsettled by revelation. No sooner had the doors opened than a squad of stern-faced authorities ascended, boots striking the polished steps with a resolute thud. Mr. Jenkins, conductor of impeccable composure, met them with quiet poise, his words a low murmur as he gestured toward the dining car. There, Mademoiselle Lucy Dubois stood ensnared, her wrists clasped firmly by Tom, the steward whose jovial nature had turned to grim duty. Her eyes, once veiled by a governess's calm, now blazed with desperation. With sudden twist, she lunged toward the door, her form fleeting as shadow. But the authorities, swift as hounds, seized her. Their grip was unyielding. Her protests dwindled to faint cries, swallowed by the clamour of the station. Led away, her bowed head marked the ruin of her clever mask. Back inside, Lady Abernathy clutched the restored necklace, its diamonds burning cold fire against her trembling fingers. "Monsieur Poirot," she exclaimed, voice teetering between rapture and melodrama. "My treasure returned. How can I ever repay you?" She pressed a lace handkerchief to her lips, eyes brimming with theatrical tears. Lord Abernathy lingered at her side, his relief quieter, shaded by the shadows of his debts. "We are indebted, Monsieur Poirot," he murmured, his gratitude fragile, like an echo in an empty hall. Poirot inclined his head, moustache curling in faint satisfaction. "Madame, Monsieur, it is the order of justice that I serve. The necklace is yours once more, as it should be." The passengers dispersed, whispers trailing like smoke upon the cool Highland air. Poirot withdrew to the lounge car, settling into a velvet armchair, a glass of cognac cradled in his hand. The amber glow mirrored the sconce's light, while beyond the window Highland peaks rose in rugged majesty, their mist-shrouded silence a fitting chorus to the drama's end. He sipped, his mind alive with reflection. "The pursuit of wealth," he murmured, voice a soft ripple in the stillness. "It tempts even the cleverest of masks. But truth will not elude Hercule Poirot." In the corridor beyond, Mrs. Evelyn Carrington and Mr. Reginald Thorpe passed one another, steps quiet, eyes meeting for but a moment, a glance electric with the unspoken weight of their secret romance. No words exchanged, yet the air trembled with their shared history. They parted, vanishing into the throng, their liaison a whisper lost to mist. Poirot observed their retreat with twinkling amusement, his little grey cells finally at rest. The Northern Star stood silent, elegance reborn, its mystery unravelled by his unerring hand. The Highlands kept timeless vigil beyond, watching as reason triumphed over deceit. And so, as the mist curled and the whistle faded, the Northern Star's journey ended. Its passengers changed, its secrets laid bare, and Hercule Poirot, guardian of truth, serene in his victory.